What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone for another update, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to talk about put all the blame on Chiesa because he is the new scapegoat. He's become the new scapegoat. And if you remember correctly, a couple of weeks ago, I said, just wait, give it time, because I don't like how the contract talks are going and how they're being a little bit portrayed in the media. I said, at one point, that bubble is going to burst completely and all the blame will be put on Chiesa. Everything. And well, it didn't even took a couple. I thought it would take a bit longer, but here we are after, I don't know how to call that defeat against embarrassing, shocking defeat against Udinese. Probably not shocking, just more embarrassing rather than shocking. And here we are, and Tutto Sport having to put out the weirdest front page you will ever see, putting the blame on Chiesa when the issues against Udinese were much bigger than just Chiesa. And this goes not just about Udinese. It's not just about Udinese. This is about years at this point. But however, we came to the conclusion, or Tutto Sport came to the conclusion, let's blame Chiesa, forget about Rabiot, forget about Alexandro. Let's put all the blame on Federico Chiesa because that's what we're going to do. Also, we will not speak a single word on coaching and how these players are getting worse and how in 3 years' time, every single attacker stinks. No matter who we bring in, no matter who we play, they all look awful. They have good moments, but overall, at the end of the season, you look at the attacking department, you're like, that's not good. If it's Vlahovic, if it's Milik, if it's Keane, if it's Chiesa, if it's Di Maria, Bernardeschi, Dybala, name it, at every single point at the end of the season, the conclusion is always, these attackers are not good. But never, ever is it, you know what? Certain players do not offer enough, or, coaching is not good enough. We rely heavily on individual brilliance. And against Udinese, that was Chiesa's quote-unquote downfall. So that's what we're going to talk about. Before we do that, smash the like button. Appreciate everybody who is liking the videos again. So let's get to at least 100 likes now. So hit that like button now. And let's jump into what is become a witch hunt and will end very badly. Okay, so woke up, open Tutto Sport as I always do in the morning, and the front page was what I expected, but a bit worse because they were taking shots at Chiesa. And when you read the article, it's about he's been giving opportunities time and time again. He's not showing it. Time to think about potentially moving him on, basically. Talking about he was not good enough against Udinese, and he was probably the reason why we didn't score any goals. And I sat back and I was like, let me scroll through the page and let me see if there's enough or like the same scrutiny on players like Alexandro, who literally cost us the game. Players like Rabiot, who are demanding a lot of money and again, stunk out to join. On Allegri, who, you know what? Every single attacker, like I said in the intro, looks poor. Nothing. An entire article on Chiesa, and I was like, okay, he was not good against Udinese. I'm not going to deny that one bit. I've said all season long, Chiesa is not having a great season. He's not having a great season. But I recall that even before the injury, those first months after Pirlo were bad. I think people forget that, because people are talking about, the injury, it took something away from him. And it did, by the way. It did took something away from him. But people tend to forget that before that injury, those couple of months before that injury, Chiesa was poor. He wasn't good. And that was before the injury. That had nothing to do with the injury. He was looking bad. So how come that, again, if 3 years now, if I need to ask you, and just be honest, even if you like Vlahovic or you don't like Vlahovic, how many attackers that you look at or forwards and you're like, man, you have been good all season long, consistently quality. Even if you didn't get the goals you should be getting, just quality. The play, everything, quality. Zero. The answer is zero. And I like Vlahovic, I like Chiesa, but zero. I even like Di Maria. And that might be another discussion. Dybala, absolutely zero. So at what point is the media, not me personally, the media gonna sit there and be like, man, here is a thing that keeps happening again and again and again. At what point is the same media gonna sit there and be like, maybe we should, move on from blaming just the attackers? Maybe we should be looking at the big picture and look at how these attackers are being deployed. Yesterday, or against Udinese, excuse me, that feeling was Chiesa is going to need to force it or we're going to absolutely not score today. And he was forcing it. He was forcing the hell out of it. He was overdoing it. He was pushing too hard. And it looked not good. It didn't look good. I'm not going to lie. It didn't look good. It looked forced. It looked frustrated. But I've said it months ago. I said Chiesa looks frustrated. He looks frustrated. And everybody was saying, no, he has 6 goals involvement. And I'm like, that's not good. He's still on those 6 goal involvement, basically, or 7, whatever it is. It wasn't good. And I said, individually, he needs to do better. He needs to calm down. But schematically, all these attackers look bad. They look bad. And I knew that the new scapegoat would pop up. And the contract situation, I don't like. I have a growing feeling that he's gone at the end of the season. We're going to move him on for money. But the narrative will be not the contract talks or not Chiesa having doubts. It will be about, man, he's just not good. He's rubbish. That's where it will end. You can pin that now down. You can mark that down. You can come back to this video. That is where we're heading at this moment in time. And then the next scapegoat. As long as the Lakers are the club, there will always be one scapegoat player in the media. And it had nothing to do with, he has a bad attitude. Because players have played badly for Juve. They have played badly. But never, ever can I recall that no blame has been put on the manager in certain media outlets rather than just piling on the players when an entire department looks poor. He brings on Yildiz and he pairs him with Chiesa, and they were just stepping on each other's toes. They were just bumping onto each other. He brings in Junior, plays him on the right, nullifies him completely. So what are we even talking about at this moment in time? I had people, actual people, and I cannot believe that they're embarrassing actually the fan base. They're quote unquote insiders, journalists, saying that one day we had Ronaldo to play against Udinese. Now we need to bring on Cherry off the bench. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You are actually embarrassing a fan base, one of the biggest fan base in the world, by saying these things. We are playing a relegation side, and you are talking about one day we had Ronaldo, and now we need to bring on Cherry. We didn't need to bring on Cherry. You need to beat Udinese without bringing on Cherry, by the way. That was just a moot point. That was just another excuse, and this time it's an extremely embarrassing excuse because you're actually saying that, we needed Ronaldo to beat that Udinese side. The excuses being made need to stop at one point. Is this a high-stack quality team? No, not once did anyone claim that. Also, claiming that, but he was never going to win the title. Nobody, or I'm mistaken, anyone let me know. I saw nobody say we need to win the title or he failed completely this season. Not one person. I had people who believe in the title, but that was just based on up to January. People believed in the title. I'm like, fine, points-wise, okay. But not once at the start of the season did people say we need to win this title. I think nobody was that deluded. I hope so. So that excuse now saying, but we were never going to win the title. Nobody asked for that, by the way. Nobody said we needed to win the title. It's another made-up argument to prove, I don't know what point. Just use your eye test, this team, does not look good. It doesn't look good. And we're going to lose a couple of more games until the end of the season. We will. We definitely will lose more games until the end of the season. What's working in Allegri's favor is that all the teams behind them are rubbish as well. Or are even worse than us, excuse me. Atalanta, Napoli, Roma, Lazio, they're not good teams. Bologna, Fiorentina, they're not good enough, or they shouldn't be good enough to compete with this Juve side. So he's going to get top 4. He's 14 points ahead. Another thing is people saying, the season is not over. The season is not over only if you believe that we will struggle to stay in the top 4. Then the season is not over. For me, it's over. Because 14 points, you cannot throw that away. Like, I have no idea how you're going to throw that away. You need to lose 5 games, basically, and the other guys cannot lose 5 games. So you need to do something ridiculously bad to throw that away. So even that, the fan base is not certain anymore. So you cannot praise him one day and then say back and say, you know what, it's still not over. And even like top 4, I don't want to talk about that. I'm probably going to ban that word from the channel. It's ridiculous that we need to sit here and talk about top 4. I know we're not going to win the title. By default, you're just going to finish in top 4. I'm not going to praise that. I'm not going to discuss that because it is what it is. Like top 4. UP. Like we're never going to buy. Like we're not going to talk about that in the future. The point is that another scapegoat. And you can go back down the years. There's always one scapegoat. And usually, it's one of the most talented players. When yesterday, or against Udinese, there should have been an article on why the hell is Alexandro still playing games for this team. Why? Why is he playing and allowed to keep making mistakes, costing us games, and not a single piece on that? Going in on Allegri, making horrible decisions. Rugani, is he still alive at this point? Played so well and being pushed aside to play Alexandro, and that's what Alexandro gives you. Not a single word on that in the media. Just saying, it's done. He shouldn't be getting minutes. Those are decisions Allegri made. No article on how poor Rabiot was again, but still holding out, saying, I need to see at the end of the season. How is that normal that a player with the performances of Rabiot and the wages he's demanding is allowed to say, I need to wait until the end of the season to see if I want to renew the contract, and he gets away with it? He treats this club like, I don't know, any side club. Let me see if something better comes along. Get out. What is this? Like, what even is this at this club? Because at the end of the day, if we finish second or we finish third, if we finish second with 15 points behind Inter, or we finish third with 17 points behind Inter, who cares? Nobody cares. You will care if you were Bologna or Fiorentina. You will look back at it and you're like, man, what a season. We finished second or third. I don't care what the situation of the club is. Never should that be a goal. Never should that be repeated after every single game. Like it's some sort of great achievement that we're finishing second. It's not. But again, scapegoats and the big picture over 3 years is that these players are not improving. This team is not improving in terms of it's sustainable, something you can build on. He keeps talking about every time we lose, we have a young squad, they're unexperienced. But when we win, it's not a young squad, it's not unexperienced. No words about that. But the moment we don't win or something happens, it's a young squad, unexperienced. And you know what? It's going to get younger next season, by the way. It is. If you look at the players we're being linked with and the players we are trying to move out, it's going to get younger. It's going to get more unexperienced. So what even is the point moving forward with this coach? Because if he claims that this squad is young and unexperienced and cannot win, it's going to get worse next season. It is, because the club, and I'm praying for it, Giuntoli is not going to switch a flip and be like, okay, sorry, let's get Bonaventura and let's get another 28-year-old on his way down. Like, that should not happen. We are going to get Sule back. You're potentially going to sign a quote minus or the Samardzic. Alexander is gone. You'll probably move out Kostic. Should. Rabiot might leave. That squad is going to get younger. So how many excuses? Like, how is that point of Allegri saying this, the squad is young and it's unexperienced, going to help us moving forward? That's the big question that needs to be asked. And that's the question Giuntoli should have been answering, should have an answer on already now. He should be going up to Elkan and say, you know what? This is the direction you want me to go with this club. Young, players we can sell on potentially, low transfer fee, but especially low wages, and build. But we have a coach who's claiming we're not going to win with that. So what are we going to do? Just hang around, be the Arsenal of Italy, finish fourth, and praise that? Or are we still going to finish fourth, however, try to improve and actually compete? That's the question that needs to be answered. That's a decision that should be made now already. Not in terms of sack somebody now, but decisions should be made now, so in the summer you can wrap it up. But I'm a bit worried that that's not happening at this moment in time. So until then, we're going to scapegoat certain players and we're just going to move away from the main topics. That's just what's going to happen in the media, and especially in Tuttosport and in Corriere dello Sport for some weird reason at this moment in time. But it is what it is. On Chiesa, we will discuss that at length. Moving forward, I do have a growing feeling that it's going to be over at the end of the season, especially if Allegri is going to stay. I think even Chiesa is going to be very open to actually revive his career somewhere else. I have that feeling. If Allegri is not going to leave, he potentially still can leave Chiesa. If the club is like, we need to catch him, we're not going to give you that wage. But I think at that point, even Chiesa will be much more open to sit down and do something about that contract. But until then, let's see. I could be completely wrong, and tomorrow we have some big breaking news on Chiesa staying. But as of now, that's the situation. So let me know in the comments who you think. Like the video. Let's get to 100 likes. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification. And I will see you guys later tonight for a live show.